We're back. We're with another group of dog guys, and I'm met here with
White Knife.
Craig Gilchrist.
Mike Hartmen.
Eric Hoover.
We're with On Point Outfitters in Addison, Pennsylvania. We do upland bird hunts, bird dog training, and we breed and sell dogs and just try to help people out with all their bird dog needs.
So these are your guides that you have here with you?
Well, Eric's my business partner, and Craig is our lead dog shit cleaner, and and he does a lot of dog training with.
So how did this business get its start? How did On Point come about?
Vince Smith, my dad Mitch Hartman, and Chuck Groff were hunting game land birds. In the late 90s, they banded the birds with monetary value attached. Some were $5,
Okay.
some were $50, They wanted to see what was killing the birds, if it was predators or if it was, hunters. Well, they killed $800 worth of pheasants that year of banded stuff. They decided to put the money back in and buy day-old chicks and start to raise, and that's all they did. They decided not to be chicken farmers. The season was too short, so leasing Herknace's farm, they wanted to do enough hunts to pay for the lease. Then they started to go to sports shows and everything else, and it just slowly turned into a business. The dog training come hand in hand with the hunts, people coming with their own dogs, struggling, needed help, so they started training dogs, and it just snowballed into the business that it is today.
So you were born, and you come about this kind of like I did. Your dad was an outfitter. You guys kind of. I remember we were the only. You had a pickup with a crazy ass dog box, and so do I. All growing up.
Yeah. How I got into it was I was watching the neighbor's dog, an English setter, and a beagle. Well, the beagle got loose and bred the English setter while the neighbors went on vacation, and they didn't know the dog was pregnant. So I was like 10. And I go up the one morning, and there's a litter of puppies on the ground. They went and did a trip out west, and this was before cell phones, so couldn't get a hold of them. So I raised for 2 weeks these puppies. Then I kept a pup out of it. That was my first bird dog, was an English setter beagle mixed. Whenever the business started, we guided with him and everything else. He was a great dog, but that's how I started into it, was with that.
I've been in it like 9 years now. Prior to that, you have kids. You hunted all that, and you got kids, and I coached kids for like 17 years, and as they grew out of the sport, I kind of got bored and went to a Chucker Challenge with a young friend of mine from work, and I said, I think I can do that. I think I like it. I looked all over the country for a dog, the first one. Found one in West Virginia, brought it home, and I have 6 GSPs and an American Pointing Lab.
So how many years have you been doing this dog training?
9.
How did you get started in that?
Well, I've always been a dog guy. I actually started out coon hunting with my grandfather and my uncle.
Coons were worth some money back then.
They were.
So you were just raised around dogs,
Yes,
kind of.
yes.
This isn't too far from where I grew up, just a few miles down the road. And Mikey and I we did a lot of sports and things together growing up. And this area is pretty big on hunting. We have it's strange the amount of people that come to our part of the country of Montana from this area and the local area around here. So everybody's got a favorite breed of dog, and I know there's so many. You guys can go over some of the dogs that you run, pointers. I was asking you earlier what you wanted me to call them, and you said there's
pointing dogs and flushing dogs,
Yeah.
and there's breeds of each. I'm an English pointer guy.
Yeah.
Craig's a short hair guy. Numerous different types of dogs. There's a big rivalry between all of them. It's like arguing Fords and Chevys.
always.
There's great dogs in each breed. It's interesting though to hear different takes and the arguing back and forth and banter that goes on between different dog breeds and with the owners and stuff. It makes it fun too, I think.
Yeah, we finally got Mikey to the short side with one this year.
Well,
He got it.
We'll have to wait and see if he makes the cut.
she's pretty good.
She's pretty good right now.
She wouldn't be here if she wasn't.
So she's evidently a young dog. You guys' dogs start young. Is that what
Yeah,
you like? You prefer in a dog?
Definitely start them young. If I can, it depends on the dog's personality. If you get a bold, confident, gritty dog, you can start them earlier than a softer dog. But we normally start around 15 weeks, just putting them on pigeons, building that drive.
Yep.
It takes birds to make a bird dog, so there's no real formal training. We just want them to have fun. Build the drive, get them on birds, build their confidence up. Then we go into formal training as they get older. A lot of it goes on the dog's personality. It's where a lot of people make mistakes. They think your dog has to be doing this at this age. I don't agree with that. I think it goes off benchmarks. If your dog's doing something at 6 months, you can move on to the next thing. If that dog isn't doing whatever it is by 8 months, you can't move on from that. You don't want to have to go back. You want to keep pushing that dog forward in their development.
So there's a strict rule of commands, and you guys' dogs are within sight of you the whole
Yes.
entire time. So you're keeping control of that animal, whereas I only have control of my dog handling it in and out of the truck, and I turn that thing loose and it's gone on its own. I mean, it could do whatever it wants. You guys have to have complete control of your dog, so it's a lot of handling. I know it has to be.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it different, the way you hunt, there's different types of bird dogs. There's trial dogs that you want to let them range a little bit more. Then you have foot hunting dogs that people just want to go to the game lands or a shooting preserve, and they have to listen a lot better. Than our guide dogs have to be
Yep.
on par. They have to listen. They have to be very, very biddable, because nobody wants to watch a $30 pheasant get bumped 200 yards away whenever they're paying for it. So we keep our dogs that we guide with are very biddable. They listen great. They have to. They won't be out there going. We can't afford to.
No,
You
it's totally different when it becomes your passion becomes pay. I
Yeah.
mean, that dog has to perform.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, they like to ask, well, how old a dog should be before it's performing. If I have a dog that's 2 years old and it's not, they're half wore out when they're 2. For
Yeah.
me, I mean, they better be doing their business, or I can't afford to keep them around in a hunting outfit where I rely on them. They're not only a tool. I mean, we love them, but they have to pull their weight. And I see so many people, they will spend time on a dog that doesn't have what it takes usually to meet the muster. And I know your muster has to be a lot higher for your guiding dogs, your dogs that are actually here at your outfit.
It definitely does. I keep my standard high. It makes me a better trainer and dog handler. And if they don't make the cut, I don't want them in my breeding program. Got to get them down the road. They don't make no money if they're just sitting in the kennel.
That opens up another topic, your breeding program. I take it you guys breed your own dogs that you've had that have been proven to themselves. Is it better for you to breed dogs than outsource to someone?
We have a lot of dogs that goes back to when my dad and Vince started, and I have dogs that go directly back to the first dogs that we bought. And I love the characteristics, especially in my English pointers. I mean, but you have to go out and you have to buy outside. You don't, because you can't be breeding too tight. So we always and I look for certain traits when I'm going to buy a dog. Genetics make everything. I always say, I'm 5'6", 210 pounds. I'm not going to go play in the NBA.
It has to meet a physical standard before it can even
Yeah,
get on the team, as you're saying.
it makes it a whole lot easier if they have the tools to get you there. It makes my job easier. If you breed dogs that the genetics aren't great, your litters are going to be inconsistent. You may have 3 dogs that perform, but then you have 4 washouts, and I don't want to be selling people low quality dogs.
Your
I want
name's on them.
names on them. We have a good reputation with dogs. I try not to sell anything that I wouldn't be afraid to go to the game lands and go kill birds with, so we try to keep that standard high.
So say Walker and I were wanting to get an upland game bird dog. Would they look up on your Facebook or your social media webpage, and do you hunt with them to kind of, so you're not giving them something, maybe a high caliber dog, even though they got money, that it's...
Yeah, no, I want everybody to see what the mother and father look
Yeah.
like. And even if they don't buy a dog from me, if you're going to buy, I don't care if it's a coonhound, a beagle, a bird dog, you want to see the parents hunt. If the parents don't hunt, I mean, you're really handicapping yourself on getting a good dog. And I tell everybody that, but I also help a lot of people pick dogs, and that's what
Yeah.
I tell them. You need to go and see the parents hunt.
That's what I was getting at. You're getting the people's personality and trying to match them up with
Yeah.
a dog that they can be successful with.
We don't have we're not a big breeding kennel. We only have 1 or 2 litters a year. It's not like we're throwing out dogs and dogs and dogs. So
You don't have a puppy mill here?
no, we don't have a puppy mill. We're regulated. The dog warden comes, so We try to keep, our kennels are clean. We have to keep up with them. I have to sign in. Every dog gets into place. We have to make sure that we have all the vet records. If they're out-of-state dogs, we have to have health certificates. There's a lot that goes on to having, board and training program here.
How many tons of dog food do you think
We
you
go
go through?
Tons and tons of dog food. It's unreal. Our feed will make people's heads spin.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And how many dogs do you have here?
We can have up to 16 here. So yeah, we feed quite a few dogs. So we're going through some food. People misconception of dogs is they have to be fat to be healthy. We get it a lot of times. People don't know what a dog that's in shape looks like, and
Exactly.
they'll look at your dog and they're like, "That dog, you need to feed that dog. A dog's in shape. You're
But
not.
that
This
dog-
isn't your 130-pound lab that sits on the couch."
So Walker, whenever you were lion hunting this year, we were getting the dogs in shape. Now we don't have the opportunity to run our dogs like you do and get them in shape. We go right into hunting season, archery and rifle, and the dogs sit dormant for almost 2.5 months. And we'll go for horse rides and things like that. And we were taking the dogs for a horse ride. They started an animal and they got away from us. We were trying to tone them and get them back, but in a rush of getting ready and going, we didn't charge the collars and a bunch of stupidness. We're riding horses for fun. We've got cowboy boots on. I mean, we look like John Wayne. We're not prepared at all to chase a dog through the woods. Neither of us have headlamps. We get to the dogs well after dark, and the only thing that Walker could see is he could see my watch.
Yep.
And the one dog was white, so she would follow game trails, and we would kind of just watch the white dog a few feet in front of us and follow her down off the mountain for
Yeah.
miles and miles. And one thing that Walker said to me when we were going in there, he's like, those dogs know that you will be there for them wherever the track ends. Like, they know that you're going to come for them, and dude, it like touched me a little bit. Like, it is a big thing that the dogs, they do trust you, and I guarantee it's the same bond that you guys have with yours.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. Craig had one get out on him today, and I had to chase it around the farm for an hour because it didn't have an e-collar on. And he hadn't been out for a while. Yeah, he didn't. We got him back, but he was definitely.
He's going hunting.
He was hunting. We went for. I hopped on the side by side, and we went for a lap.
That was Mike's dog. It was mine. He didn't come back.
So we run GPS collars. Do you guys find it necessary to run a GPS collar, or is it just
It depends where I'm at. If I'm guiding here, not necessarily. If I'm hunting out west or in the North Woods for grouse in Michigan, first off, there's wolves. And everybody that has any type of hunting dog knows if you don't have track of your dogs and you're in wolf country, it is bad news. There's horror stories left and right of people losing dogs. With bird dogs, it's not as crucial to be, if you cut a wolf track, I'm not terrified because my dogs stay closer, but I know houndsmen, you see a wolf track, you're avoiding that like the plague.
Yeah, we cover so much ground. I mean, the dog, I've seen over 20-mile races
Yeah.
before the dogs will be stopped with whatever game they're pursuing. And sometimes it takes you 3-4 hours to get around there. A lot can happen in that amount
A
of
lot
time.
of bad news can happen whenever it's that much time. It amazes me how much ground a hound can cover compared to a bird. Now a bird dog covers ground, but I'm used to constantly seeing my dog and having control over him, where it takes a little bit for me to wrap my mind around just letting them go, and you find them whenever they're bait up or whatever, I think it's amazing.
Our dogs are subpar on their training compared to yours. I can teach my dogs to handle, and with the new GPS systems, I don't really use a lead strap very much except to tie the dogs back if we're going to kill the animal. If not, I just let them on the tree, and we pull them off of it, and they'll follow us back out of the woods to our truck. But you guys have to do so many more commands. I mean, I teach my dog to load up, and that's about the full extent of it. I mean, I don't have to go into extensive training. I hunt my dogs, I'm fortunate, with other dogs that are already met a standard of mine. So I just take puppies and they either make the cut. I don't teach them to hunt. I can't. They either have it in them or they don't. It's kind of like we were talking about guides. Like, they just have a different mentality. And our dogs have to just have that click. I can't teach it into them. And I'm sure that you can show these dogs constant birds by buying them, things like that, instead of trying to go make them catch an animal. Ours have to, they have to actually run to pursue and see what they're going to be catching, or I can spend years on a dog that doesn't do anything, and they never understand what they're running except for the scent.
the game makes the dog, that's for sure. No matter what kind of, if it's a bird dog or a hound, birds make a bird dog. We have an advantage to where we can use homing pigeons, and the reason why we use homing pigeons, they fly back to the coop, so we can use them.
Use.
Yeah, we
That's
use them
right.
over and over and over and over again. It saves a lot of money on training or bird fees.
How do you train those?
It's natural.
It's natural.
Really?
Just like a dog pointing, you don't teach him to point.
Yeah, the biggest thing is we start them out. We try to get pigeons that haven't been flown before. Then you leave them in the coop for like a month, and whenever you start them, you just fly them real close. Once you get a coop established, the older pigeons kind of teach the younger pigeons, and you just let them go, and they come back. We can buy our game, whether it be quail, chucker, pheasants, and get them on that. But nothing makes a bird dog better than wild birds, where there's no human scent. You take them out, you get them on wild game. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania, there's no grouse like there were 20 years ago. When we were in high school, Josh, I mean, I didn't know what we had compared to now. So that's why we travel out west so much. On my personal time, we go to Michigan, South Dakota, North Dakota, just to get the dogs on wild game.
I hear stories of guys hunting chuckers in the high mountains, and it appeals to me. I could get into that. I could think.
You guys are billy goats, though. I'm a short, fat guy.
You could do that. Yeah.
So I brought up chuckers because I want to know a little bit about them, because that's what they hunt in our area in those high mountains a lot.
Yeah, chuckers, they definitely are like a desert rocky bird.
Yeah.
And,
that's the deal.
Pheasants and grouse, everybody goes and hunts sharptails and huns in September, but in the bird dog world, I still say pheasants, definitely my favorite, and I think the majority of the people's favorite, and a grouse is right there too. Rough grouse, those two are definitely the two most popular. Whenever we hunt wild pheasants, you can't talk. You can't
even close your car door.
Can't close your, they'll fly off.
Really?
Yeah. So we laughed the one time they heard me take the foot off the gas pedal, and they started flying out of the field. I mean, they get hunted so hard, though. We're hunting all public land, and those birds are getting harassed from the beginning of October till the last day of January. And it's not a question if that field got hunted that day, it was when. So you can't talk, you can't blow a whistle, you can't be screaming at your dogs, because you'll watch the far end of the field, them birds are blowing out, and you'll watch hundreds of them go out before you even get to them.
That's something I wouldn't have thought of.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Well, that goes back to, like you were saying, the GPS or regular. Around here, when I got a 550 and I put a toner on them.
Okay.
Well, you can't run a toner out
Put
there.
that beeper on out there.
I mean, you're
bird
just
is gone.
yeah. So the GPS is great, so you know where your dog is.
Really, the
It's on-
tone will scare them.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's adds a lot of it. I mean, we always talk about animals getting used to being dogged, especially lions and bears, and they get very smart. And it comes down to an individual animal, and that is being savvy to it. But it's crazy to think that whole fields of birds get.
Oh, yeah.
You can't be matched.
When you guys are traveling and you're talking about going west and hunting in the fall and that, you're wanting to go hunt a harder animal to catch or to
Yeah, it's
move with your dogs.
They're wild. They're not, they're not pen raised liberated birds. They were born and raised, and they're wild. There's nothing a human has done to them.
predatory instinct to them.
Yeah.
So we have what they call a spruce grouse, and it's the dumbest thing alive. The bird hunting in our area would be unreal. I would like to see you guys come out to our area sometime and bring those dogs in.
Yeah.
So now I guarantee this is a big topic with your dog's gun shyness.
Absolutely. There's two things with a bird dog you have to have. They have to like the birds, and they have to like the gun. If you don't have either one of them, you don't have anything. I started out building the drive with a homing pigeon. Before I steady up a pointing dog, I like to get them past the gun, because that hard drive and chase is there, and whenever you steady a dog up, they have to hold point, so they can lose focus off the game if they hear something. So what I do whenever they're puppies, we take and we throw birds and we let them chase them. I start clapping whenever that bird's flying, just to get used to the noise.
Yep.
Then we get starter pistols, 22 crimps, and we start from a distance. Whenever that dog points, if it's a flushing dog, same thing. We just let it fly. Whenever they're chasing that bird, their focus is on the bird, we start making the noise, firing the cap gun. If the dog doesn't respond, there's no bad juju or whatever,
Yeah.
we move closer until we're right over top. Then we get to the point to where we're shooting a cap gun over top. We reward that dog by shooting the bird. That way they can get their teeth into it, tear it up. It becomes a good thing. The gun's a good thing because the bird's a good thing. They're going hand in hand.
Yep.
So that's how we start it, and it works. I will say with bird dogs, 95% of the time that a dog is gun shy, it's the owner screwed up.
Yep.
And dogs don't lie. People come in and they tell me things, you know, I'm like, well, what did you do? Oh, we didn't do anything. I'm like, no. Dog's the most honest thing. They're the most honest thing in the world. I can tell if they, you know, shocked a dog while they're on point or whatever. If they start blinking birds or whatever, they either rough that dog up too quick trying to get him steady, shocked him on birds, whatever. Because a dog doesn't lie. People lie. Dogs don't lie. The best tool in the toolbox is the e-collar, but it's the most misused tool there is. And some people shouldn't touch them. Go to somebody, whether it's me or anybody else, if they want to get their dog started on an e-collar, make sure you are with somebody that knows what they're doing. You just don't throw a collar on and start wailing on them. You got to do a little bit of teaching. A collar is made to correct a known command, not teach a command, you know. So that's the biggest thing I see with a lot of guys with collars. They really overuse them at first whenever they shouldn't.
We don't shock dogs. We stimulate.
Yeah, this is true.
It's better terminology.
We don't. I never shock a dog. I've stimulated a few, but I don't shock them.
Exactly.
I've stimulated a few for running elk myself.
Deer,
Yeah, it happens. They run off game. So do your guys' dogs bumping off game? I mean, from time to time. I'm sure the sight chasing, the excitement of it, it happens, I'm sure.
Most definitely, whether it be a rabbit, deer, whatever, bear. And that's another thing, you know, you can save a lot of terrible situations if you get a dog running a bear or whatever, coyote, getting close to a road. You can save a terrible situation from happening. This is going way back, one of the very first hunt that On Point Outfitters did, Chuck Ruff guided it, and his dog got completely spooked, and didn't know why. Well, they started up the field, and there was a bear in the field, and it spooked that dog. Didn't like that bear, and she completely shut down. And then they had to, you know, it ended up coming around, but it was like this is the very first hunt that this, you know, that, and this dog's not doing anything. I mean, it was like, what is going on, you know? But we've come a long way since then, that's for sure.
Yeah. So to lay out the lodge, we come into a front room with some mounts and a desk and things, and now you have this is where you guys serve lunch.
Yeah, we can cater the food. Then, you know, the sign-in room, when you come in, you know, you sign in, then you can relax. There's a fireplace in here, relax after the hunt.
A lot of BSing takes place.
A lot of BSing, you know.
Riding people for the misses.
Oh, yeah, I hear that all the time.
Bragging rights, you know.
That's what makes it fun. If you ain't doing that, then you're not having a good time.
Guys,
if somebody's staying and wants to do a multiple day hunt or traveling a far distance, we can definitely get them hooked up with staying someplace nice. My sister has a bed and breakfast to stay at. There's a lot of dog friendly places. You can board your dog here if you can't find a dog friendly place. We have a kennel set up. You know, there's a lot of options.
It's easier to sell that hunt whenever you can get the whole family out here.
Exactly.
You go do something in a high power, some of the attractions close to here while dad or whoever's into the hunting comes and spends the day with you guys.
What's nice about what we can do is mom and the kid could walk along if they wanted to and see what's going on. You know, they don't have to carry a gun to come along.
We deal with minimum guns compared to you guys. I know the last time when I come to talk to you about doing this, you said you were shot at your front desk.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I always tell everybody, you know, we try to hunt in a straight line, so you're not in a line, somebody will get Dick Cheney'd and shot in the face with a swing. So we try to stay in a straight line. People unloading and loading, you know, we're shooting a lot. It's not like you guys where you one shell in a gun, they get to shoot one time. We're shooting constantly, so I really watch people loading. You know, make sure your muzzle's always safe whenever you load, and make sure your finger's off the trigger. I don't know how many times with people with over and unders, they're not paying attention. They have the finger on the trigger, they shut the action, and kaboom, you know. And it's just like, I had a guy do it the other day down here, walking down in, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm sitting at the desk, and they're down at the bottom of the hill here, and they just shot, you know, 20 yards from the lodge here, you know. And it's just like, what are you doing? And just not paying attention.
I can only imagine some of the clientele, because I deal with 20 clients in a fall, and you guys are dealing with 100 plus.
And we see a lot of inexperienced hunters. I mean, I don't know if you guys do or not, or if you see a lot of experienced hunters.
To be honest with you, being in the business we are, We get a lot of experienced hunters in archery season. We get some first timers in rifle, but for the most part, our area, it can be okay for a beginner hunter, but it can be a waste of money if they're not willing to think of it as a learning experience for the future years. It's just, it can be shock and awe if you don't know what to expect your first time out west. So
Yeah, Mikey, you've had guys show up from the resort.
Oh, yeah.
tennis shoes on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've never shot a gun before, so we
Yeah.
take them down to the
You get a
trap
fair
range.
amount of that.
Show them how to load the gun and put the safety and just shoot at target.
I would much rather deal with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and they're willing to learn than somebody that thinks they know everything.
Yes.
Our worst group is the 20 and 30-year-old dudes that are on a bachelor hunt. So they just want to kill everything. They make a competition out of it, not listening to you because they know everything. Those are the worst groups. Those are the absolute worst groups to deal with. I would much rather teach a woman to hunt than a man, too.
They listen a lot
They
better.
listen. I mean, they're so worried about screwing up, and they want to do everything right. Where a man thinks they know everything.
His
And,
ego
I mean,
gets
I'm
in his
gonna
way.
hear about this, but it's true. I mean, it's 100% true. Teaching a girl or a woman how to do something with a gun or hunting is way easier than teaching a dude who thinks he knows everything. I had a guy. He had a bolt action 16 gauge. You could tell he never was. It was like his grandfather's gun or uncle's gun, and he wasn't much of a hunter. And he was trying to load it, and he had the muzzle pointed into his stomach trying to load the thing. And I'm like, give me that. And I had to go over, like, you're putting one shell in the gun, and you're gonna walk beside me, and it's just crazy. Gun safety should be taught in every school, whether you are for or against guns. To be ignorant on such a subject is asinine to me. They're not going away. You should understand it. You don't have to agree with everything, but you should understand how a gun works, and and that's the thing. It's just a tool. That you can lay a gun on the table. It's not going to shoot somebody until somebody puts their hands on it.
There's a lot of places across the United States that people freak out when they see that gun. It's like a grizzly bear being in their house or a poisonous snake. My kids are so used to seeing guns that just gun safety and being around them is a part of everyday life, and I think we take that a lot for granted.
The most nervous I get in the field is not the single pheasant, not the single chucker. We have so many birds roaming the grounds that you'll get in and there'll be 12 of them come up. You got 5 hunters, 12 birds, and they're flying everywhere. And I mean, I kind of just duck when they quit shooting. I look up. Did you get any?
When we go into a tree, we tie the dogs back. It's very, very regimental. But we dictate one person's going to run a handgun to protect hounds, and then you have the shooter, and that's it. So you have to worry about 2 guns. You guys got guns slinging around.
There's guns everywhere. I have a million horror stories to guide and have barrels fly past me, people shooting too close to dogs. I've never, knock on wood, I've never had a dog shot, but I've had people that shot their own dogs here just being stupid, Never had anybody kill their own dog, but we really have to watch what we do. And, we don't crowd people here, but it's our responsibility to make sure everybody's safe. And if you ever crowd people here, you're going to have bad things happen.
What kind of numbers are we talking that you run in a year's time? Like,
I can tell you bird numbers better than I can hunters. We go through about 10 to 12,000 birds we release a year. Hunters, we're going through, on a busy week, over 100 hunters a week. It depends on group. We can take 6 per group. On a busy Saturday, we run 6 groups in the morning and 6 groups in the afternoon. That's 72 hunters if we're completely full.
so how many guides?
We have about 10 guys that help out. I got 3 boys right now that's cleaning birds for me, and they do all right. On a Saturday, they'll pull in pretty good chunk of change for not even having a driver's license
Yeah,
and coming and
it's-
hunt. It kind of makes you.
The clients take care of it.
Yeah, they see them kids working, and we have the best clients in the world. They definitely love seeing them boys do what they do, and they take care of them very well, which I'm glad they do. That's how it should be.
So these guys, like, we do an apprentice program where they would be our packers, and those are, you're like manicuring them, hopefully that they come on to your business with hounds and that, I guess, or
Yeah.
with dogs eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah, our apprentice program is shoveling dog crap.
That's where you start.
That's where it starts. No, but those 3 boys, they're here more than the majority of our guides. They started out. We plant birds. We're putting takes, so we plant birds. So how they start out with is they help us catch birds in the morning. They help us plant birds, and they clean birds. But that's how they learn. And all three of them help with the dog training. So those three boys understand bird dogs. You know, it takes a lot of behind-the-scenes work to make any guide outfit go. And it takes manpower and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that nobody sees. They just think you go out and hunt. You two know that is not the case.
They all think that you just go out and you start this out of thin air, but there's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through with regulations and insurances and crazy stuff behind the scenes that you just don't understand.
Yeah.
That's the business aspect. So this is a regulated, your property here in your hunting area is a regulated shooting. That has to be certified through the state. I take it something
Yeah.
of that nature.
Yeah, we have a license through the Pennsylvania Game Commission, and we have to obey every game law except the season
Yep.
and the bag limit. So if a guy wants to come shoot 30 pheasants, no problem.
He has to buy his hunting
No.
license?
No, we don't have to. You don't have to have a hunting license to hunt here.
Okay.
But you know, he has to wear the 250 square inches of orange on the head and the back.
Okay.
You know, all the rules as far as that go apply.
Do you see a certain age group in your hunting?
It's getting older, but we are getting some younger. We do youth hunts for pheasants forever, and we definitely see, you know, try to get young people involved, because if young people don't get involved, it's going to die pretty quick.
That was amazing. Whenever we come up here, you threw some clay birds for the kids. I
Yeah.
mean, some gun safety. They didn't even know they were getting gun safety. The kids didn't. They thought they were learning to shoot clay birds, but I could tell everybody was up there kind of reading them, seeing what was going to go on.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat how you guys structured that.
Yeah, you got to be structured when you're dealing with that many kids. Whenever you put a bunch of kids through, you're teaching them, and they don't even know they're getting taught.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of moving parts to this that you wouldn't see if you just come to hunt birds. You
Yeah.
wouldn't see all the cages. All those animals have to be fed. I mean,
Oh,
there's
yes.
a lot of.
There's always something to do.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Eric, you tractor driver,
Uh-huh,
head tractor driver.
uh-huh.
Eric takes care of the farm. He does everything, and it looks great. We get a lot of compliments about it. He does a great job.
And you see how much goes in behind the scenes here, and these guys are talking about it. You know that they're not just BSing to take your money. I mean,
It's a lot of work, and we want to do a good job, so we put the time in and try to do the best that we can.
So you got a place where they can contact you?
Yeah, you can get on our website. It's www.onpointoutfitters.com. Our phone numbers and contact information is there, and we also have a Facebook page. It's On Point Outfitters.
You guys got a great facility going here. It was raining this morning, but Walker and I are going to come back, and we're going to do some shooting of some birds with you. And
Sounds good.
Sounds
yeah,
great.
it'd be interesting. We'll get those footage and stuff up when we put the podcast on. But I'd like to thank you guys very much for sitting down with us and taking time out of your day.
We appreciate you guys
Yeah,
coming.
guys,
It was a
thanks a
great
lot.
time.
Yeah.